Hello and welcome. This is the March 2017 Full Moon Mini Masterclass and Forecast. Well, actually, this is a preview of the class. The full class will be held live on March the 10th, 2017. I'll put a link to it in the comments section below so you can read more about it. It will be online and then recorded for you to view later if you can't attend the class. My name is Sarah, and I'll be your host as we navigate the new full moon energy ahead. This should not be considered as medical, legal, or financial advice. We can all agree that while we're affected by the moon and the stars above, ultimately it's up to us on how we choose to react, and therefore we are responsible for our own conduct and our own actions. The next full moon will be on Sunday, March the 12th, 2017 at 22 degrees of Virgo. The new moon will come later in the month on March the 28th, and we're going to discuss it too. But right now, let's talk about the full moon. March's full moon is traditionally called the full worm moon by Native Americans who used the moon to track the seasons. For many parts of America, this was a time when the ground begins to soften and earthworms reappear, inviting the return of robins. In some regions, this is also known as the sap moon, as it marks a time when maple sap begins to flow and the annual tapping of the maple trees begins. But like I say, it depends on where in America and where in the world you are. Right? This, though, is seen as the time of the emergence from winter and all that it brings with it, such as cold and darkness and introspect, and a time of rebirth, and the beginning of spring, a time to plant the seeds to begin the next cycle. Generally, full moons are about completing projects. This full moon is about completing those projects you began last month during the new moon and taking steps or leaps toward your goals. For this to happen, you're going to need to stay focused and on point during the entire month of March. There's a lot of erratic energy that's going to be coming forward, and you're going to see a lot of people acting kind of bizarre. Virgo is not an easy sign under the best circumstances. It's not easy to have Virgo highlighted in your chart. It seems to swing from extremes, and this full moon is going to highlight that energy for a lot of people. And suddenly you may feel a very strong urge to rebel against anything that's stopping you from having fun or doing what you want. Some people would kind of even call it kind of a spring fever kind of thing, where you're done. You're done being inside, you're done working, you're done with it all, you're ready to get outside and play and go have fun. And that's cool because everybody needs a break. We can't work all the time. You have to find that balance. And part of the lesson for this year is balance with boundaries. That includes work and play. Now, things may seem a bit confused by this rebelling, freedom-seeking energy for a while, and you may have a difficult time deciding what is fact and what is fiction. But rebelling against everything and anything, flying off the handle, or provoking the powers that be is probably not in line with your goals, right? More often than not, change comes about by finding alternative solutions, not by burning down the building, so to speak. So it's important to remember that you need to stay focused if you're going to achieve the success you're searching for. Oh, and also that success you're searching for is out there. It's a very strong possibility right now that things are about to change if they haven't already. And I do mean this as a positive change in your life. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on too, having to do with Venus. But so much of what happens in the next 6 months has to do with what you do this month and if you stay focused or if you get off track. Can you stay focused? Can you stay on task? Or is this month going to be a setback? This particular convergence of energy is going to, like I say, bring about rebellious tendencies, but also bring a lot of tension and anxiety forward, and people will be more argumentative and more high-strung during this period. With all this extra tension, people will be more likely to lash out, so you need to be aware of that and keep your anger under control. It also looks like there's going to be a large revelation, both personally and globally, in the works. And then this revelation will start a chain of events, a rather unexpected chain of events in your own life. The plus side of this, though, is this event will help you see things more clearly, and if someone has been deceiving you or withholding information, this will affect everything. And it's probably going to be jarring, and it may lead you to a major change in your circumstances. Now, the more restricted you felt, the more unsettling this change will be. So what do you do? Well, it's not a time to be rigid. You can change your course in midstream if you need to now, because you have information now you didn't have last month. And now that you can see things more clearly with this extra information, it's fine to change your path and change your plan. Just remember that this may not be happening to you, but it may be happening to the people around you. So also, I want to remind you that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to during this time. With this new information, you may feel the need to totally renew and start fresh. But be warned, the more extreme the change, the harder it's going to be to adjust to the new conditions. Because change is always difficult in the beginning. I mean, that's a given, yeah? But if this fresh start involves the ending of a close relationship, whether it's romantic or otherwise, it would probably be wise to consider the bigger picture, including the financial ramifications for everyone involved before you embark on any rash change in this. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in the full class, but I have a lot of stuff I want to cover right now. This particular full moon also will have a tendency to make you feel very nostalgic. So it's a very good time to visit museums or go to retro clothing markets in search of treasures from the past. You can also expect more people from the past, whether they be treasures or not, to show up either in person or in your dreams as you continue to sort through the lessons of relationships gone by. As people run around rebelling and speaking in their minds, you could feel very strongly identified with your values if anyone attacks them. So keep that in mind and don't overreact. Try not to take things too personally if someone does not have the exact same taste as you do. Because so what? Live and let live, right? The big lessons continue to be about self-work, self-love, self-care, and issues relating to boundaries and balance. And those themes, we are advised to go yet deeper to understand our own motivations and what we need for growth and fulfillment. So let's review the month really quick and see what we have to look forward to. All right, remember March the 2nd, we saw Jupiter opposite Uranus, and this energy brought a big shift and a change where we stopped thinking so much about the past and started looking towards the future. This was a big defining shift. Did you feel this change, and did perhaps your own priorities maybe shift towards the future? Of course, the big news this month is Venus retrograde, isn't it? From March the 4th to April 15th, Venus will go retrograde. And transiting Venus retrograde occurs once every 19 months for a period of 6 weeks or 42 days. So what does this mean? Well, this 6-week period will be filled with exciting and complex opportunities concerning love and money. Instant attraction, love at first sight, whirlwind romances, destiny encounters, and the possibility that you may come in contact with your soulmate are all possible during this time. But this is also a time about self-love and self-care, and how about you feel about yourself is reflected in the world around you. But the key to navigating this Venus retrograde is to choose your options very carefully. Just because you may be coming into contact with your soulmate doesn't mean that someone you bump into is your soulmate. Okay? But seriously, it's important to slow down, take your time, and not make hasty decisions. And if you do make decisions, base them on more than just physical attraction or lust. Or else, when the retrograde ends, you may be regretting the decisions that you made. So Venus retrograde in transit is a time of introspection and reassessment. It's a time to look inward, even though you're going to be pulled to focus outward on others and on love and physical attraction. So you may also suddenly be interested in high-end luxury items too, shiny new things, new car, higher-end designer good. But as Venus also rules money, it's traditionally thought that Venus retrograde is not an ideal time for investing or buying luxury items of any kind. So instead, you do better to use this time to do research on those items that you want to find, that you want to purchase. Find the products, find something that meets your desire or your need, and then wait to buy it till May. Although it would also be a good time to really assess why you want it. Why are you attracted to these things? Is there a deeper root cause or a deeper meaning why you're attracted suddenly to these items? Could it be that you're trying to fill an emotional gap internally with high-end goods? Or is it just time now to get a new car and it's time to upgrade those items. Either way, it's always good to look inside and find your motivation. Some deep things to think about during this time. With transitioning Venus retrograde only occurring once every 42 days, Venus is retrograde only 7% of the time, which is the least amount of any planet. The next closest is Mars, which goes retrograde at 9% of the time. Then Mercury at 19% of the time, even though it feels like we get a Mercury retrograde every other month, doesn't it? But we really don't. Venus retrograde should therefore be the most strongly felt of all the retrograde planets, so it's wise not to discount the effect it's going to have on you and the people around you. Many people use, wear, or work with rose quartz during this cycle. Rose quartz, of course, is said to be a stone of love, basically self-love, and that's where all love starts, isn't it? How can you love someone else if you don't love yourself, right? So many people turn to this powerful stone during this time, especially if you feel your love life is moving backwards. Now remember, this is all about self-love too, not just about physical love, lust, or relationships. We're talking about the many levels of love in general. So, and speaking of stones, during the full moon, I think it's wise to break out the sapphire, carnelian, peridot, and agate too. Sapphire to help you improve your communication and understanding, because the more you understand what's going on with those around you, the better decisions you're going to make. And come on, who doesn't love sapphires, right? Carnelian will help you stay goal-oriented and help you with your follow-through, which you're going to really need. Peridot to harmonize your emotions and calm your mind, and of course agate for improved mental functioning. And once again, this is not medical advice. If you're having health or physical issues, please seek medical attention. And I'm going to talk about some other stones that you can use for the rest of the month too in the class. And the Northern Hemisphere, the USA, Central America, Canada, Europe, Asia, and North Africa will also be experiencing the vernal equinox on March the 20th too, so we've got that to talk about. One of the themes for this event, too, will be time and timing. So I look forward to discussing that with you. But I think it's time I ended this file. It's getting rather long. It's just there's so much going on this month between the full moon and then Venus, and we've got the equinox, plus, like I say, a few other things happening, and then the new moon. So I hope you can make it to the class. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And if you haven't already, please hit that red button below and subscribe so you don't miss any of the future videos. I think the next video coming up is going to be another Ask a Reiki Master Teacher question, and those are always fun. And we're working on some meditations too to put on this channel as well. I hope this preview was helpful for you and answered some of your questions about what's going to be happening in March. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Reiki blessings!